Today we'll be covering what a day at Hollywood Studios looks like for us when we're in Walt Disney World. Hello and welcome to the Let's Go to Disney podcast. I'm your host Oliver, and you're listening to episode 12, A Sample Day in Hollywood Studios. My wife Lucie is back on the show today to talk Hollywood Studios.
Hi everyone, it's nice to be back on the show. I actually love Hollywood Studios. It's my favorite of all the 4 parks, and I'm so excited to share with you guys just how we do Hollywood Studios every single time.
And yeah, we do love Hollywood Studios. It's not my favorite park, but like I said before, I don't like to pit the parks against each other. I love them all individually for different reasons. And I actually really do love Hollywood Studios. It's got a lot of great rides, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Before we get started, I do have a couple of small news items, but fair warning, we're actually pre-recording this episode since we'll be in Disney World next week. So there's a new Asha meet and greet near the entrance to Epcot's World Showcase. With the theatrical release of Wish, there are also several snacks and merchandise options appearing in the parks. Beginning yesterday, November 22nd, she is also meeting in Disneyland outside the Royal Hall in Fantasyland. She will also appear in Disneyland Paris beginning on November 29th. It's Thanksgiving week in the parks, and they have been very busy as expected. Genie Plush reached record highs of $35 per person for Magic Kingdom and multiple parks. Hollywood Studios was $32, Epcot $28, and Animal Kingdom at $25. Just in time for our arrival. Having said that, we are pre-recording this episode, like I said. It's earlier in the week than we usually record because we're leaving for Disney World this Saturday, November 25th. We'll be in Walt Disney World for 8 days and coming back on Sunday, December 3rd. We've got lots of fun things planned on this trip.
Absolutely. We're pretty excited about it. We're just going, Oliver and I, this time. We love going with our kids, but we also like just going, him and I, a little bit of a different vibe when you go without your kids, and we really enjoy it. So this time we'll be staying at Coronado Springs, which is one of our favorite resorts. We love it there. Yeah,
absolutely. We mentioned this a couple episodes ago. It's a great resort. We love it there. I can't wait to walk into the lobby.
Absolutely. The smell is incredible when you walk in there. The cast members are so friendly. We love it.
Yeah, it's Disney, right? It doesn't matter where you're staying. It's always special.
We love the Disney bubble. Entering it, you just feel at home there, and it's a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple other things we'll be doing. We'll be checking out Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. We're actually doing that our first day in the parks, which is going to be Sunday the 26th. So we're really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. We're really excited to see all the decorations up at all the parks and in all the resorts. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely magical.
Yeah, and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, we're looking forward to eating all the snacks, checking out the entertainment, checking out the parade. It's going to be a really good time. I'm going to be sharing to our stories on our socials, so if you're not following us already, go check it out if you want to follow along.
Absolutely.
We also got a bunch of fun dining reservations. So we're eating at a couple of places that we've never tried before, but we're also eating at some of our favorites, right? Like Via Napoli, Steakhouse 71, Homecoming, Ohana, Oga's Cantina, La Hacienda de San Angel, Beaches and Cream, Sci-Fi Dine-In, California Grill. We've got a lot on the docket. We can't wait.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of delicious food, and I can't wait. I can't wait to try all the snacks too. Some of them look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're also checking out, of course, Festival of the Holidays over at Epcot. We're going to go around the food booth there and try a bunch of the different foods. We're also going to be taking part in the cookie stroll.
Yes, absolutely.
We've had a look at the menus. Some of these cookies look pretty good.
Yeah, we have definitely our top contenders that we definitely want to get while we're there.
Yeah, you need 5 out of the list to get all your stamps, and then get that special cookie at the end, which
there's definitely 5 that we can choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, the prize cookie is actually a Wish cookie that's a star. It looks pretty cute.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. At Epcot, we're also going to check out the Candlelight Processional, which, if you don't know what it is, it's essentially the story of Christmas narrated by a celebrity host. So there's a couple options while we're there. We haven't 100% picked who we're going to go see, but I'm definitely looking forward to that as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think it'll be so much fun. Kind of fun when you get to see a celebrity too in person. So it'll be an exciting time.
Yeah, absolutely. We're also checking out Jollywood Nights. So that's going to be a few days in. It's going to be on the 29th. So we've watched a couple of initial reactions to the first couple parties.
Yeah.
The first party, it sounds like they needed to iron out some details. So, for example, if you were already in the parks, there was only one place to pick up your wristbands, and the line was apparently 45 minutes long.
Yeah, a little bit of chaos there for sure for the first night.
So for the second party, they actually opened up a second place where you could go pick up your wristbands. So obviously they're listening to guest experiences, and they are making some adjustments on the fly, which is great to see.
And that's a good thing about Disney. They have an entire team in the background that you're never going to see working really hard to make sure that any kinks are ironed out and that everything goes really smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going in optimistic. I think we're going to have a really good time. We're going to try a lot of the different snacks. We're going to check check out the different entertainments.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be a good time.
For sure.
And like Lucie said earlier, we're also going to hit some of the resorts to check out the food and snacks there. I have to go to the Wilderness Lodge to see the giant tree.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we're definitely going to go to Grand Floridian to check out the big gingerbread house.
Absolutely.
And I'm getting one of those shingles. Okay, so essentially the shingles are made out of gingerbread, right? The whole thing is, but you can buy individual shingles as like a snack.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so 100%.
Delicious.
I'm definitely getting one of those. We're also going to check out the Animal Kingdom Lodge, check out the lobby there. Obviously, it was the same architect that designed Wilderness Lodge and Animal Kingdom Lodge. So they're both big, beautiful lobbies. They have those big, beautiful trees. We absolutely love checking that out. It's beautiful there. We're going to head to Port Orleans to pick up some beignets as well.
Yep.
And we're also going to swing by the Riviera because I want to try some pastries there at Le Petit Café.
Perfect.
Yep, that's going to be fun.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Yep. All right. And we're also obviously going to head into Disney Springs. We're going to get some shopping done. We want to swing by Amorette's to pick up one of those cakes. They're super cute. We're going to stop by Gideon's to see what's going on there. Swirls on the Water has a holiday flight. Dole Whip flight. So I definitely want to check that out as well. Fun. And Jock Lindsay's.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got some holiday options as well on their menu. So we're looking forward to check that out as well.
Christmas is our favorite time of year. So for us, throwing in Disney and Christmas, you can't compete. It's so fun.
Yeah, 100%. It's right up our alley, right? So you've heard this probably before, but it's the most magical place on earth at the most wonderful time of year.
Absolutely.
So yeah, 100%.
Perfect combination.
Yep. We're there for it. All right. So with that said, let's get into today's main topic. So today's going to be how we like to do Hollywood Studios when we're in the parks. So like we said, you know where we're staying. We're staying at Coronado. This is actually where we're checking into on Saturday. We're really looking forward to it. So we're going to use this example as if we were staying at the Coronado again, because typically speaking, that's where we like to stay. So if you're taking the buses from Coronado Springs, it's a very similar experience than taking it to Magic Kingdom. So if you're going for early entry, you're going to want to be on one of the first buses that leaves for the day. So about an hour and 15 minutes or so before early entry is when the first bus will usually come. So like I said, if the park opens at 9, early entry is going to be at 8:30. So you want to be at the bus stop like 6:50-ish.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. 6:50.
Yeah, the first bus is going to come around 7:10.
Give yourself a little bit of time there.
Yeah, exactly. And then that first bus is going to get to the park around 7:30, which is when they would let you out to go again to security and then queue at the touch points.
Same situation as Magic Kingdom. Yeah, you'll have to go through security first. So just prepare yourself for that.
Yeah. One thing that's different from Magic Kingdom is obviously there's no monorail, but there's also the Skyliner. So for the Skyliner, depending where you're staying, you want to get to the Skyliner station about an hour and 15 minutes before early entry. About an hour before early entry is when the Skyliner starts running. So again, if early entry is at 8:30, the Skyliner is going to start running somewhere around 7:20, 7:30. So if you want to queue about an hour and 15, an hour 20 before that starts to run, that's going to be a good time to get there.
Yeah.
You can also walk to Hollywood Studios if you're staying in the Epcot area resorts. We've actually done this before. We stayed at the Swan Reserve a little while back and we walked to Hollywood Studios. If you look at it on a map, it looks kind of far, but the walk was super...
Oh, it was super nice, actually. It's right by the water. It was a beautiful morning. It always is usually a beautiful morning in Florida. And it's kind of a nice way to get some energy going for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I know people would say like with all the walking you're doing in the parks, why would you want to walk to the parks? But there's no rush. If you leave with plenty of time, you just take it easy. You grab a coffee and you walk at your own pace to get to the parks. Again, if you're getting there too early, you're not going to be able to go anywhere. So there's no use getting there much before 7:30. If the park opens for early entry at 8:30, that's when they're going to let you go through security and queue at the touch points.
Yep.
So in terms of early entry, how you're going to play that when you're actually in Hollywood Studios, there's a few different options here. We like to say that there's 3 options.
Yep, I agree. Yep.
And we've actually done all 3 and we're going to talk about each one. Option number 1, when you're queued at the touch points, it's not like Magic Kingdom where they open up the park and then you can do a bunch of shopping and a bunch of different things. When they open the park, you want to head to whatever area you're going to. So that could be Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog Dash, or right down Sunset Boulevard towards Tower of Terror.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so for option 1, let's say it's Rise of the Resistance. So as soon as they open up the park, you're going to want to walk straight and then turn left towards Echo Lake, back around Muppets Vision 3D. That's the closest entrance to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, and Rise of the Resistance is right at the entrance, basically, of Galaxy's Edge.
Literally the first thing you're going to cross, it's on your left. So if that's important to you and that's what you're rope dropping, 100%, that's where you're going to want to head.
That's the way you're going. Absolutely.
A different route, depending how close you are to the front, you can also keep going straight and then left down Commissary Lane in front of ABC Commissary and cut across and then back around the same way. If you're further back, this is what I would suggest, because everyone is going to be going left and cutting in front of Echo Lake. So if you can go past and cut in front of Commissary Lane, and you walk fast, you may be able to get there a little bit quicker.
Yeah, you may be able to jump the line a little bit for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you queue out Rise of the Resistance. Hopefully it's not down. It does. Rise of the Resistance is hit and miss.
It is, yes. We have seen it go down multiple times when we're in the park.
Yeah, 100%. And it's got something like 21 points where it can fail or something ridiculous like that. So it does go down, I find, less than when it first opened, but it still happens. So something to keep in mind there. It is a possibility, and it is disappointing when it happens. I totally get it. But having said that, assuming everything's running smooth, when you get off Rise of the Resistance, not many people will have rope dropped Smuggler's Run. So the line is usually pretty short. So I would hop right over there and go do that. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Just keep in that same area and get as much done as you can.
Yeah, for sure. Number 2 is to go and rope drop Slinky Dog Dash. So when we have our kids with us, this is what we do every time because
they are children and they love Toy Story.
Yeah, 100%. They're Toy Story people. They love it. They love Slinky Dog Dash. So we do it for them. And
we do it for us too. We love that ride.
Yeah, it is. It's super cute. It's a fun coaster, right? It's like, I would say it's in between Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
I would agree, yes.
Somewhere in between there. So when you're led into the park, you head straight to the back, to the right of the Chinese Grauman's Theater, past Pixar Plaza, and straight on. You walk into Toy Story Land from the main entrance, I would call.
Yeah, you can't miss it. There's a ginormous Woody character there to greet you. You can't miss him. Yeah,
and then you keep going. It's going to be the first attraction on your right. So Slinky Dog Dash gets long lines from early in the morning and throughout the day. And the thing about the queue at Slinky Dog is that it's all outside.
And it's exposed, like you are in the sun for a lot of it.
Yeah, so it's really a good use of your early entry time to get that done early in the morning before it gets super hot and super crowded, especially if you're not getting Genie Plus.
Absolutely. And if you are getting Genie Plus, it's a great way to get it done and then still have the chance to ride it again with your Genie Plus.
Yeah, absolutely. And then once you're off Slinky Dog Dash, I would go to Toy Story Mania because, again, most people are going to Slinky Dog Dash. This is not going to have a long line, and it's a good one to do early in the morning. Yeah, absolutely.
It's so fun. I love that one.
Yeah, it's super cute. And then from there, you're actually really close to Galaxy's Edge. So after Toy Story Mania, you can probably still get to Smuggler's Run with a relatively low wait.
Absolutely. And honestly, if you really wanted to, you could probably get into Rise of the Resistance, and the number that it's telling you for the wait time is probably not accurate.
Yeah, assuming it's still an early entry and the park's not open. Yeah, absolutely. And then the third option is when you walk into the park, you turn right down Sunset Boulevard towards Tower of Terror.
Love Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Absolutely. It's definitely one of our favorite rides. And a lot less people head to Tower of Terror than Slinky Dog Dash or Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah. So when we have done Tower of Terror at Rope Drop, we have done it a few times now. So usually when we pick Tower of Terror for Rope Drop, that is because we have decided to do Rise of the Resistance for our individual Lightning Lane and Slinky Dog Dash as our first Genie Plus option. So Tower of Terror, a really good option too for Rope Drop.
Yeah, for sure. And if the parks aren't too busy, you can probably ride Tower of Terror, walk next door to Rock and Roller Coaster, get that done. And then again, if it's still not busy, you can probably get back on Tower of Terror a second time. We've actually done that a couple times.
Yeah. And then actually in that situation, if it's not busy, after riding Tower of Terror for a second time, we can usually make our way to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and get on that one pretty quickly as well.
Absolutely. If you can get all that done in the first half hour and head to Mickey and Minnie's, honestly, that line gets long quick because it's the first ride you walk into. Right? When you first enter Hollywood Studios, it's kind of in the middle of everything. So it will get a long line when the day wears on and when the park opens to everyone. But again, if you're still in that sweet spot of that first half hour, 100%, it's still a good bet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the three options for rope drop. So either Slinky Dog Dash, Rise of the Resistance, or down Sunset Boulevard to Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. So we did exactly what we did 2 episodes ago, and we forgot to talk about Genie Plus and our individual Lightning Lanes. So again, when we leave the resort in the morning, usually our 7 a.m. happens either when we're waiting for the bus or when we just got on. So typically speaking, whether we have the kids or we don't, Genie Plus, our first selection is going to be Slinky Dog Dash.
Yeah, absolutely. Slinky Dog Dash is the one ride that's going to consistently stay busy throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's busy throughout the day, and those selections go fast.
Absolutely.
As soon as 7 o'clock hits, those get booked up, they are pretty scarce to try to find for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
So if Lucie's picking our first Genie Plus selection, I'm picking individual lightning lanes for Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, absolutely. We've never had an issue before. It's always smooth sailing to get a lightning lane and to also get a Genie Plus.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't matter if we're rope dropping Rise of the Resistance, we still get the individual lightning lane because I like to ride it twice.
Oh yeah, me too. I'd like to ride it 3 times if I could.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of my absolute favorites. So for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what our 7 o'clock looks like when we're going to Hollywood Studios. So regardless of which area of the park you rope drop, whether it was Toy Story Land, Galaxy's Edge, or Sunset Boulevard, where you go from there is really just depending on what's important to you and where you first started. So obviously, if you started down Sunset Boulevard, your next bet is going to be likely Toy Story Land or Galaxy's Edge, or maybe even Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So again, we like to get our first lightning lane selection for around 10 a.m. That allows us to make our next selection before that 120 minutes has lapsed. So again, if we made our first selection for 10 o'clock, as soon as we scan into that, we can make our next Genie Plus selection. So let's say we scan into Slinky Dog at 10 o'clock, we can immediately select our next selection, and then that sets our 120 minute clock. It doesn't matter if it's not a time we like or not even a ride we like, we can always go back in and modify that ride to get a better time.
Absolutely. I love that modify feature. It comes in very handy. We've used it often and we've always actually come up really lucky with a better time.
Yeah, absolutely. We really do have a high success rate with that.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's say we got our first lightning lane around 10 o'clock. From here, we're usually getting pretty hungry.
Yeah, we're usually feeling like we could probably use a little bit of a pick-me-up, such as a coffee. Usually the sun is coming out pretty strong then, and we enjoy a really good iced coffee. So usually that's where we're thinking, okay, it's time.
Yeah, 100%. So Trolley Car Cafe?
Absolutely. That is the Starbucks within Hollywood Studios. And like I said in the previous podcast, we enjoy a really good vanilla sweet cream cold brew. So we tend to go over there to the Trolley Car Cafe. We grab our cold brew and a little something to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our favorite snacks there is the carrot cake whoopie pie.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially it's 2 carrot cake cookies.
Yep.
But they're soft like cake.
They're like a cake, yeah.
Yeah, and then in the center is cream cheese filling.
Delicious.
Yeah, 100%. It's big though, so it's definitely shareable.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
We normally just get a knife, split it right down the middle, and we share that with our coffee, and it's a nice snack just kind of mid-morning.
It's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And then from there, again, it's just a mix of standby queues and lightning lanes. That's the secret. That's the secret to get the most out of your day, is to utilize Genie Plus and standby queues to get the most rides done as possible.
Yeah. And actually, another good thing to do is to pay attention to those wait times on the map, on the My Disney Experience app. That map is actually going to show you if a ride is possibly down for a little while, and obviously the wait times. And if you see something that's maybe a 20-minute wait time and you haven't ridden it yet, I would say head to there if you have the time.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes you'll check the app and wait times will have dipped for whatever reason. Sometimes like Mickey and Minnie's will drop down a little bit. So
Absolutely.
It's a good time to head there and get that done. If you see that the wait time is dipping, let's say from like an hour to like 40 minutes or something more manageable, you can 100% do that.
Yeah, and if you have your coffee in your hand and you notice that a ride is down, kind of maybe, and you have some time, maybe wander over to that ride. You never know. It might open up as you're walking towards it, and then you could actually jump in line and be one of the first to ride it again once it restarts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that because it made me think of something else that we haven't mentioned before. If you have a Genie Plus selection for an attraction
Yes.
and it goes down when you have your window. So let's say that you booked Tower of Terror for noon. You can ride that anytime between noon and 1. You have a 1 hour window, but let's say it was down that entire time. If the ride was down during your booking window, you're going to get it like an attraction redemption selection on your phone. So you'll actually see and you actually click on it and it'll tell you which rides you can book. It's not going to be like the top attractions, meaning if you had a reservation for Tower of Terror, you're not going to be able to take that and go ride Rise of the Resistance. It'll give you a list of the attractions that you can go and ride with this redemption. Big thing is here is that it doesn't have a time limit. So you can go to another attraction at any given time. You don't have to wait for a specific time. And the best part is that you can then select another attraction right away. So now you have an outstanding one you can pick to go use anywhere, and you can pick your next selection. So let's say you're lucky and you're able to pick a Tower of Terror for like 2 p.m. and the ride's back up. Well, you can use that free one to go ride another ride that you already rode or ride one you didn't ride.
Absolutely. If this happens to you, try not to get too disappointed. Usually these rides will pick back up within 20 minutes to half an hour, maybe an hour max. And then you get that extra Genie Plus. It actually works out in the end altogether.
Yeah, really, it's kind of a blessing in disguise depending how you look at it and what you're able to get right after.
Yeah, and it's happened to us multiple times, and it's always worked out.
Yeah, for sure. So another thing that we like to do kind of in midday once we've gotten a lot of our rides done in the early portion of the day is to check out some of the shows that are available at Hollywood Studios.
And there are some good ones at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. So for example, Indiana Jones's Epic Stunt Spectacular, really good show.
Such a good show. It is so fun to watch it. Even if you've seen it multiple times, I still find it fun every single time we go.
Yeah. Some people call it tired and I just can't figure out why. Like it's so awesome.
Yeah.
And the effects and the stunts and it's just
fun. It's just a lot of fun. It's a covered spot and they have fans going at the top. So it's a nice way to cool down a little bit to get out of the hot sun.
Yeah. And to Lucie's point, though, it is outdoors. So something to keep in mind is if inclement weather comes around, like if there's a thunderstorm or a lightning storm or something, the show is going to shut down for the safety of the cast members and the actors and the stunt people.
Yeah.
They are going to shut that down. That actually happened to us the last time we were there.
With the kids.
Yeah. So we were there watching the show with the kids and we got rained out. We actually just made it in time to our Woody's Roundup Rodeo barbecue reservation before it started pouring. But we got lucky because by the time we finished our meal,
it was done.
Yep, it was cleared up again.
It worked out for us.
100%. That's Bay Lake, right? That's Orlando for you. There's going to be showers, especially in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, another great show there is First Time in Forever, a Frozen sing-along.
So good. It is funny.
I know.
It's such a funny show.
Lucie's right. It's deceptively funny. Like there's definitely some humor geared towards the parents here.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That'll go right over your kid's head, but the parents will get a good laugh.
Yeah, for sure. So there's, again, the songs for the littles to entertain them, the songs they'll recognize from the movie. It's really the story of the movie in like a 20, 25-minute show. Yeah. And then again, with some comedians, right, some humor to keep the parents entertained. It's really a great show. We love it.
Another great space because it's indoors. It's very cool in there. It's perfect when you need to escape the sun.
Yep. Or escape the rain, either
Yeah,
way.
true. Yeah.
And then another great show down Sunset Boulevard is The Beauty and the Beast live on stage.
Yes. Belle is my favorite princess of all time. So I am a big fan of this show.
Yeah, 100%. This is what sets Disney apart, right? It's the entertainment. This show, like I would call it a Broadway level show.
Absolutely.
When you think about the...
And we've seen Broadway shows. Yeah, we can say that.
Yeah, 100%, right? The cast members, like the singing, the dancing, it's just...
top notch. Like the costumes, everything. Just spectacular.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I would say that's probably the top 3 shows to check out in Hollywood Studios.
Agreed, yeah.
So when we're thinking about lunch, it depends if we have the kids with us. So if we have the kids with us, we'd probably actually go sit down at like ABC Commissary or Backlot Express, right? Grab maybe a meal or two that we can share between the 4 of us, just to have something a little bit more substantial.
Yeah, the kids usually need something a little bit better than just a snack here and there.
Yeah, 100%. When it's just Lucie and I, one of our go-tos is Baseline Tap House.
Absolutely. I actually love it there. It is a great spot. If you can get a spot out on the patio portion of the restaurant, it is a great place to have a beer, maybe get a charcuterie board, and people watch. I love people watching. It's one of my favorite things to do. Yeah,
100%. The charcuterie board there is only $13. It's a good value for what you get.
Yeah.
They have good drinks there. The pretzel is really good. And like Lucie said, if you got a spot on the patio overlooking the area of the park that you're in, you're actually right across from Star Tours at the entrance or close to the entrance to Galaxy's Edge. So it's a fun spot to people watch.
The hustle and bustle going on there. Yeah, you can just sit there and enjoy people watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing we like to do is Oga's Cantina. So you'll hear people say, you know, it's a one and done. It's only standing room at the bar. You're sitting with other people, but we actually really love the atmosphere in there. And like anything else at Disney, what sets it apart is the cast members.
Absolutely. The cast members are so fun. They are in character working in Oga's Cantina. So the way they talk and mingle with each other and the guests, it's like they're in the movie. It's a lot of fun. And you also have to kind of sit there, look around and appreciate the design of Oga's Cantina. It is so impressive.
Yeah, 100%. If you can kind of put yourself in the mindset that what they were trying to achieve with this, right? It's like the busy cantina scene from the movie, right? So that's what it's inspired by. So the last time we were there, we were actually standing at the bar, like nudged in between 2 other parties. We had a couple drinks each. The cast member was a riot. We actually had a really good time in there.
Yeah, and the people next to us too were fun, and everybody was having a great time. Nobody was annoyed that they were close to other people they didn't know. Everybody was just like, you know what? That's the vibe. Let's go with it.
Yeah, 100%. We always really like it in there. Yeah. And aside from that, in the afternoon, we're continuing to do our lightning lanes, taking a show or two. Lines will be long for for almost everything. So that's when it's a good time to do those maybe less popular attractions like Star Tours.
Yeah, poor Star Tours.
I know.
It doesn't ever really have a good line, which is really good for us because we like Star Tours, but it's kind of the forgotten ride of Star Wars because it's been there for so long, and the new Star Wars rides are so different that people tend to head towards Galaxy's Edge and forget about Star Tours, which is actually not in Galaxy's Edge. So it kind of gets forgotten.
Yeah, it does get forgotten. And like to Lucie's point, it is a good attraction. You have, I think, 5 different potential like scenes. It's a simulator ride, right? So you have 5 different scenes that you can experience. So you could go twice, 3 times in a day and not have the same scene. I think it's actually really fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And then depending what's going on, sometimes we do like to go out of the park around mid-morning to mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
So on our last trip, we actually left the park for brunch. We took the Skyliner and we made it to Topolino's.
Yes, we had always heard that character dining for breakfast was amazing, and it truly was. There are no words. Topolino's was the best.
Yeah, 100%. It was actually our first time there on our last trip, and my God, is it ever good.
Yeah, our kids were blown away. They had so much fun. Our son was grinning ear to ear. Insane.
Yeah, 100%. Like in terms of food, not just food, like character interaction is great, but the food there is phenomenal.
So delicious.
I had a steak and eggs and it was delicious.
Yeah.
You had those sour cream waffles.
Delicious with some caramelized apple on them. The kids had the Mickey waffles. Plus they bring you a huge, it looks like a
Painter's bucket.
Painter's bucket. Thank you. Full of pastries, muffins, croissants. It's delicious.
Yeah, 100%. Our kids were all over that.
Very good coffee too.
Yeah, absolutely. Coffee is great. But then obviously the reason you're going there, aside from the phenomenal food, is the character interaction.
Yes.
And to Lucie's point, our son, so when the characters first came out, Minnie walked right by our table and she waved to our son who was right on the edge, and like he couldn't believe it. He had grinning ear to ear. Like honestly, it was so sweet. That's honestly like it was
completely worth it.
100%. That was by far, I think I can label it our best character experience ever.
Agreed.
It was phenomenal. Food was great. Character interactions were great. I definitely recommend it to anybody.
Highly recommend.
And it's definitely a good way to just break up your day at Hollywood Studios, because Hollywood Studios, it's a small park, but it's got a lot of heavy hitter rides and it's always pretty busy. So it's definitely a good way to break up the day.
And honestly, our kids thought that the Skyliner was a ride. They had so much fun on that thing.
Yeah, that's right. They did. They really enjoyed riding the Skyliner. So that was a plus for sure. And then we just went back into the park. I think as soon as we got back, we got onto Tower of Terror, right? We had a lightning lane around like 2 p.m. or so. And that's what we did. So that's definitely an option for you as well if you want to go out of the park for a little bit and then come back in after.
Yep. It's always good to take a break.
Yeah, for sure. And then as the day wears on and we get closer to dinner time, we are partial to Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater.
Love it.
Yeah. So this restaurant it's what it sounds, right? So it's a dine-in theater. Essentially, all the booths are cars. They're like cars facing a big screen, and the ceiling is made to look like the night sky.
Yeah, and the screen is playing old sci-fi movies. It is dark. It is quiet other than the movie playing. Everybody that's usually going to eat there, they are looking for the exact same thing. They just want to sit there with a cold drink, stare at that screen. They don't even know what they're watching, and just mellow out from a very busy, long, hot day.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's diner food, right? So a lot of people, like it's nothing to write home about. It is good. The burgers, the fries, like it's good standard diner food. To Lucie's point, it's the atmosphere. It's quiet. It's cool. It's dark. People are chill. It's a really good spot to just rest your feet for a little while, get away from the heat, get away from the hustle and bustle, and have a good meal.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
On this upcoming trip, actually, we do have a reservation at Sci-Fi Dine-In, and we're doing the Fantasmic dining package. So essentially what happens is you pay a little bit more for your meal, and then you get priority seating for Fantasmic.
Yeah, which we're really excited to see that show again. We love it. It's so good. So we're pretty excited about that, to get prime seats. Yeah,
100%. And some people may tell you that it's not worth it because it's not always worth it. And I agree with that. Depending how busy the parks are, you can maybe get a really good seat for Fantasmic without showing up that much more before the show. But we are going basically at the end of Thanksgiving week into Christmas here. So we do expect it to be busy. That's why we pulled the trigger on that.
Yeah, 100%.
And once the sun goes down in Hollywood Studios, it's really worth it to go into Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, I agree. The lights are all on. It's really fun, actually. It's nice. It's getting cooler outside. It's just a really nice time to be in those parts of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. Galaxy's Edge at nighttime with everything lit up and all the lights on the ships and on the Millennium Falcon is just... It's a really good spot to go and check out what's going on there once the sun has gone down.
Agreed.
And in terms of nighttime entertainment, we kind of touched on it already, but there's a couple shows on the Chinese Grauman's Theater itself. So there's the Disney movie Magic, which is a projection show. And then there's also the Wonderful World of Animation, which is another show with a few fireworks. Those happen nightly. Check the My Disney Experience app to know exactly when they're happening. If I'm not mistaken, when we're there next week, it happens at 8:25 and 8:45. So something to keep in mind there if you want to check those out. Fantasmic, depending on the time of year, will actually run 1 or 2 shows. So again, check the My Disney Experience app. During busier times, there'll likely be 2 shows. During quieter times, there'll likely be only 1.
Yeah, I highly recommend Fantasmic, especially if you have kids too. A lot of the characters are in this. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, without giving too much away, if you've never seen it, there's water involved, a big ship, some musical numbers, some lights, some fireworks. Yeah, it's really worth.
It's a show.
Yeah, it's a show. It's really great. It's Disney nighttime spectacular, right? It is what it is. So you're really going to enjoy the show if you're staying for that.
Yes.
And then after the shows, it's just like Magic Kingdom. If you're not in a rush, why rush?
Yeah. The shops are still going to be open down the main drag heading back towards the buses. So, pop into all the stores, take your time, do a little bit of browsing, grab another little snack if you wanted to at one of the stores along the way. There's no need to rush.
Yeah, like we said before, right? You're not going to wind up stranded at the parks. If you don't want to head out with the mass exodus, just take your time. The buses will still be there when you get there, I promise.
They're going to run a little bit more frequent than they would during the day because they know most people are ready to head back to their resort at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all that said, this should give you a pretty good idea as to how Lucie and I like to structure our days when we're in Hollywood Studios. So again, this may or may not work for you and your party, but hopefully you got a better idea and you can pick and choose what's most important to you and apply that to your plan.
I agree. Absolutely. What works for us may not work for you, but we just hope that kind of helps you give an overview. It just takes a lot of planning and just knowing exactly what you want in your day.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that said, thank you so much for joining us today to talk Hollywood Studios. To make sure you don't miss any future episodes, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. We would also love it if you could take a moment to rate and review the show. This helps us reach more listeners and we love the feedback. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for much more magical content. The link tree in the show notes will take you to all our socials. Have a great day and we'll see you real soon.